Hi there, I'm Joy. Does it feel like there's a hole inside of you, like a big gaping void? Maybe it feels like it's trying to suck you in, or you feel this angst about this hole being there and wanting to fill it. That's how I have felt in the past. It felt like I was empty inside. There's this emptiness inside me, this void. And I tried all sorts of different things, usually related to relationships and like love or infatuation. I tried all sorts of things to try to fill the hole. I would try to fix myself so I could get the right kind of partner who could give me the right kind of relationship to fill that hole. I would also try to distract myself from it as well. I drank a lot, or there were all sorts of different things that I used to either numb that feeling or distract myself from it. And eventually I came to this point where I just had to face it. And when I did, I learned something very interesting about it. And this was a very intense experience because what I did was I just kind of let myself feel it fully. And I was like crying and shaking, and it was a very, very intense experience for like 10 minutes or less. And then that feeling passed, and it didn't come back. And I could still access the void, but that pain associated with it wasn't there anymore. So, what I've discovered about the void is that it's actually not this like dreadful, painful thing once the fear of it isn't there. And I have a way of understanding it, and I'm going to share that because I often find that other people have this experience too, where they feel empty inside or there's a void. And they pretty much universally talk about this as though it's some big awful thing. And it seems to be a comfort to them when I share my perspective. So here's how I understand it. The void is an existential or non-existential thing that's everywhere. So basically, we've got we could call it like the ultimate, or like the cosmic, or like universal, or it's even bigger than the universe. But there's like the great yin, you could call it, where there's nothing there. It's just emptiness, stillness, silence, empty space. And because it's there, existence can happen, creation can happen, life can happen. The world of differentiation, like uh, this is a phone and this is a mouse. They're different things. There's differentiation between them. Or as the Tao Te Ching calls it, it's the 10,000 things. So the world of form and differentiation can only exist because the great void is there, or some people call it the great mother, some people call it the Tao. Um, there's different names for it, I suppose, but essentially, like, okay, if I want to put, let's see here, if I want to put my hand into this space, I cannot do it because there's already something there. And it's like that with existence too. Like there needs to be space for something to exist in order for it to exist there. Otherwise where's it going to go? So this void is holding an empty space for existence to exist. And without that, it wouldn't. And there's no judgment, there's no like trying to make it this way and not that way. There's no agenda. It's just unconditionally accepting and allowing, and that's about it. It's like there's nothing to it. Literally, it is the lack of things. So this void, because it has to be there in order for something to exist within it, is something that is everywhere. So some people can really feel this inside themselves. They feel that there's this emptiness there, and they're like this is hard for a being that exists and has some kind of self-preservation instinct, because the void is nothingness. There's this fear that if you get too close to the void, then you will cease to be. So it's an existential threat, this void, or at least it seems like it is. And that's why people it seems like such a dark and scary and painful thing, because we want to exist. We're here for a reason, whatever that is. Like, we're trying to do that thing, and the idea of not existing is pretty scary. It's kind of like our fear of death. There are some people who say that they don't fear death. They've either truly made their peace with it, they have a belief system which involves like continuation in some other form, like this isn't really the end kind of a thing, or maybe it's a part of them that is like, what, I've seen enough of this life thing. It's way more painful than it's worth, and I'm ready to be done with it. So usually it's one of those three reasons when people say that they're not afraid of death, or a combination. But in any case, most people are afraid of death. That's the standard, or the natural thing, I should say. So yeah, the void is scary. Like, oh my goodness, there's this like black hole inside me that's threatening to suck me up, and I need to try to stay away from this thing that like is just terrifying. But the thing is, like, once you actually go into the void, you don't cease to exist. Yeah, you're still there. You're still like you're still present, but you're in this space where you're completely accepted, and it's peaceful, and it's lovely. And sometimes I like to go into it just for a nice little retreat, because the world can be kind of stressful sometimes, and it's nice to have this a break from it. And there's nowhere that's more peaceful than the void. The stillness, the silence, the empty space, and it's just really very lovely. So I would say that from my perspective, the void is home. And when I share that with people, a lot of times they feel more peaceful about it. So I thought I would make a little video about that. Let me know what you think. Do you have any experiences with this? I would like to add that if you're interested in exploring this topic a little bit more, if you read the Tao Te Ching or listen to like a YouTube video or audio book of the Tao Te Ching, it talks about this quite a bit. So that's one place where you might be able to explore it. Oh, and I forgot the most important thing. Maybe not the most important thing. I forgot an important thing about it, when you do go into the void and just like chill there, I'm not going to say you, when I do that, my experience has been that because the void is completely undifferentiated, there's not like my void and your void, it's all just void, right? So because it's completely undifferentiated, the void that I can access within myself is the same void that holds the entire universe. So when I go into that, I find that the entire universe exists within me. And that's a pretty freaking awesome experience. So I wanted to make sure that I said that as part of this video as well, because we see this, people say it. We see memes on Facebook, our friend who's into that spiritual stuff and says all these weird things will say, the whole universe is inside you. And it's like, yeah, right. Uh-huh. You can access it through the void, but I will let you discover that for yourself or not, or perhaps you already have. And I would love to hear about it in the comments. Thank you for watching.